Peace and great blessings, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new, please like and subscribe. And I am Queen Tamara, the host of the Healing Cipher on Plugged In Radio and the founder of Astral Healing Arts Wellness Center. I'm a holistic health consultant, herbalist, yoga teacher, yogini, and vibrational healer. So thank you everyone for joining us, and we are looking forward to tonight's show. We're waiting on my co-host King Ade, who should be joining us shortly. But in the meantime, I'd like to hear from you all how you are doing tonight. Feel free to share in the comments section under the chat how you're feeling, how are things coming for you. Tonight's show is going to be about intuition and learning to develop your intuition. And before we do that, we're going to just talk a little bit about what's been going on in the world around us. We noticed that this is April now, so we're well into the spring season. It's past the spring equinox. We just had another glorious full moon in Libra last week. So there's a lot of change taking place, a lot of shift. And in the process of change and shifts of energy, there's going to be some changes that sometimes are not very comfortable. And we find a lot of people are finding that relationships that they thought were solid are coming to an end or being challenged right now. And that is all normal. Don't think that your situation is unusual, or what you're going through right now is difficult. I mean, it may be difficult, but don't think that you're alone in this process, because right now there's a great shift taking place, which has been taking place for a while. It's just the energies are aligning and things are seeming to be more challenging and more difficult right now. But rest assured, the changes that are taking place are for your highest good. And in order for change to take place, there has to be a shedding, and we have to let go of the past, or let go of things that no longer serve us for our highest good, so that we can move into a new space, a new reality for ourselves. And in order to create this new reality, because we are creating it, we're co-creators in this thing we call life. And in order for that co-creation to take place, we have to learn to trust and learn to let go of things that no longer serve us. Sometimes we hold on to things that are no longer of any use to us because they're comfortable and they feel safe. And it's okay to let those things go so that you can make room for something new. For example, if you have a brand new house, or if you move into a new house and the house is filled with things, where are you going to put the new stuff? So you're going to have to purge, let go of some things that you don't need, move some things around to make room for your new furniture if you purchase new furniture. So life is kind of like that too. And what's going on right now is kind of the same process. Things are being shaken up, shifted, and moved around. And with this change often can be difficult and challenging. And so to make room for the new blessings, the new reality, the new paradigm, any new changes, new love, whatever, new goals to come into our life, we have to make room for them by shedding the old and discarding the old and discarding things that no longer serve us for our highest and our best, so that we can make room for the new joy, new abundance, new prosperity, new love, new exciting changes in our careers, in our family life, or whatever. So I hope that whatever changes you're going through right now, remember to love yourself extra, be extra patient with yourself and others, because we're all going through this change. We're all going through this shift. It's affecting different people in different ways. And some people may appear to be handling it very well, but just because what you see on the surface is not always what's happening below or in private. So just remember that we're all going through this, and we're going to get through it, and we're going to see each other on the other side. So just be patient and extra mindful of how you talk to yourself and others right now, and just be extra patient, extra loving, and it's going to be okay. So tonight, talking about intuition, part of the healing journey and this process with going through this shift and this paradigm change is learning to trust your intuition. And intuition is a word that is used a lot and thrown around a lot in conversation. People say, my intuition tells me, or um, I'm very intuitive. I can use my intuition, women's intuition. We hear that a lot, especially when I was growing up. I used to hear the term women's intuition a lot. And it's implying that women have this sixth sense, or this extra sensory perception, and can tell things. So I'm going to read the definition of intuition to you as per Google. Is the ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning. So that's what intuition is. And intuition is a thing that one knows or considers, likely from instinctive feeling rather than conscious reasoning. So, intuition is the ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning. Sometimes you have what some people call it the sixth sense, which is just this ability to know things or to feel things. And all of us have intuition. It's not something that is limited just to females. Everybody has intuition. And your intuition, or your intuitive ability, I think it's a spiritual ability, just like clairvoyance, clairaudient, clairgustance, all of those, clairscient. I think that intuition is an ability that we have. And just like any other ability, it has to be developed, it has to be worked at and practiced. Unfortunately, intuition doesn't come naturally for a lot of people. Some people second guess their intuition. A lot of people have been taught not to trust it. I didn't trust mine at one time, and it took me a long time to recognize it and to accept it for what it is. But your intuition is that in this feeling that you have that makes you consciously aware of something without knowing. You have a feeling that something's going to happen, or an awareness of something happening, or something just being different, or just anything that deals with knowing immediately something without the need for a conscious reason. You just know what you know. That is your intuition. And a lot of times intuition manifests, especially when dealing with our loved ones. Many people have a very heightened sense of intuition when it comes to family members. For example, they say a mother always knows when their child is in distress or in crisis. And oftentimes we know without a logical reason when there's something not right or amiss with a family member or a loved one. Many of us feel that in our, in our core, and we sense that when someone is in danger, and that's close to us, particularly family members. We just know it. We know it, and we can feel it. And I've heard a lot of miraculous stories. One time, a young man that I know was in danger of being harmed by someone who was plotting to assassinate him. And his mother didn't know where he was, but she just suddenly showed up where he was because she had been awakened by a dream that night that someone's trying to harm him. And that's exactly what was happening. And she was able to show up at the place and take him into safety and, foil their plans to harm him. And I've also heard stories about family members just knowing and feeling when something's not right, and they follow their intuition. They may call that person or go and find the person and see them face to face and confirm that feeling that they had was right and exact. And so all of us have this feeling, and intuition is a natural ability, and I think it's just part of your spiritual abilities. We all have this sense of knowing when something, some people don't, but a lot of us have the sense of knowing right from wrong. And a lot of times, even when a person acts wrong, they knew it wasn't right, but they chose not to follow their intuition. They chose to follow their perhaps their lower desires and do something that wasn't right. You often hear people say that I shouldn't have done that. Something told me not to do it. I knew I shouldn't have trusted him, or I shouldn't have trusted her. I knew I shouldn't have gone there. Something told me not to do that. I had this feeling this was going to happen. All of that is proof of your intuition, because your intuition is always on. You don't have to turn it on. It's there. It's just that you have to be more consciously aware of it and pay attention to it. Since childhood, you've probably had this feeling or this voice inside your head, if you will, of telling you decisions to make. You may have had a voice, you riding your bike when you're a child, telling you don't go down that street, and you listened to it and you didn't go. Or if you didn't listen to that voice within and you went down that street on your bike, you may have ended up having a near accident, or a dog might have chased you or something like that. But we all have this intuitive sense telling us what to do and what decision to make. But we often second guess that voice within, and we don't listen to it. Some people call it self-accusing spirit. Some people call it, the God within, whatever you want to call it. You even see it in cartoons. You see cartoons where there's a little devil on one shoulder, the angel on the other, and they're both talking to the person, telling the person what to do. And the person has to decide, am I going to listen to the devil or am I going to listen to the angel? And all of us have these choices we're faced with every single day. Are we going to listen to our intuitive voice, which is the voice of our higher self, I think, or are we going to listen to our lower self? And many of us live in a state of low vibration and the lower self. We operate from that lower self. So a lot of the decisions that we make, if we're making decisions from our lower self, are going to have a negative outcome. But if we raise our vibration, raise our thinking, and we can raise into a higher state of consciousness, we can have a better decision-making process. And we're going to welcome King Ade. He just joined us.
Oh, wow. I think that is good.
Welcome.
Peace and love. Peace
Peace
and
and
love.
love to you, King. How are you today?
I am well. I am well.
Oh, good, good, good. We are welcome. We are talking about intuition, using that intuition and how to develop that ability, and how it can help you in your healing and your spiritual journey. So I was just talking about that, how in childhood we often had that voice inside that we many of us have not learned to trust and to accept. Remember the cartoons that would show like the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other, and they both talking to the person, telling them what to do.
We've been talking about that. We've been talking about that a lot lately, about that angel and demon on both shoulders, because usually when they do that, both of them are in the image of who? You.
The person, right?
Exactly. They both be in the image of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's that light, dark, that yin yang. That's that
Duality.
exactly. That's that duality, of course, but that's that higher and lower self that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali talks about. You feel me? The higher natures, the higher vibrations
Yes.
within you, the spirit of Allah within you, and the lower vibrations, your carnal self and your carnal body and your animal emotions and things like that, animal brain, all those different things that make up your carnal body and the
Mm-hmm.
things that you are just called to do, the things that are just nature, carnal nature, We
Mm-hmm.
lust, we, want to
Anger.
eat, hunger, all these things. You have to control these things.
Mm-hmm.
You was given a mind to control it. If you aren't controlling your mind is controlling you for
Mm.
sure. So, you know, your animal mind, it just wants to gratify its lower nature. It just wants fleshly things, material things. It wants to eat. It wants to, lust. It wants to have sex. It wants to do whatever it wants to do. It just wants to have fun in the now in this physical existence. You feel me? Just
Mm-hmm.
want to do whatever it can on this world. Where your higher self is usually trying to do something for the better good of yourself, your family, and all of community in totality. So you're usually like, is you're sending you on a mission to,
Mm-hmm.
do something important for yourself, your family, and God. And you're the perfect person to do it because God, perfectly picked you for the task that you're meant to play in this world and gave you talents just for that task so that you would be the perfect person for that task.
Mm-hmm.
So that godly and that demonic spirit on both sides of the shoulder, that's just showing you light and dark is just showing you, it's just depicting your higher and lower self. And one thing you gotta know about it is your lower self, Satan, the devil. We gotta stop seeing that as evil. Because
Mm.
the thing is,
That's a
your
good
lower
point.
self is a part of you. You feel me? Because you see the demonic spirit is still depicted in your image.
Your image, right?
And the thing we got to know is when we think of the devil or devilish things or devilish people, we think of people that did some actions that we associate with being devilish.
Right.
And we got to look at when we think of angels and things, we think of the face of people that we know have do angelic things, usually are missionaries, gifts, doing something great.
Mm-hmm.
So this duality right now, it's not a good evil duality. It's a higher vibrational, lower vibrational duality. Both of them are different poles of you, different extremes of who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and yet, is all a part of you. So people, be doing something that's, crazy off brand, and it might have been influenced by a dark spirit or entity within them.
Okay.
And they be like, that was a demonic spirit that wanted me. And it
Mm.
might have been a demonic spirit. It could still been you, your lower nature. But there is certain things that you have to release, and you got to release first, and they try to attach themselves to you, but they attach themselves to your
Yeah.
lower nature because they're vibrating on the same frequency. You feel
Mm.
me? Certain dark
Like that.
entities can attach to you when you're vibrating on a higher level. Or if you go up to a higher level, they'll fall off. Just think about something trying to grab onto a plane, but it can't breathe in the higher atmosphere, so it's just gonna fall off. You feel me?
Right.
Or something trying to you a rocket ship and you go into outer space and it can't breathe in outer space, so it's gonna fall off when you going through the force field, whatever you want to call it, to get out of the ozone layer, to get out of our airspace into outer space. So lower dimensional deities, entities, demons, whatever you want to call it, negative energy, bad vibes, bad juju, all of that cannot hang on to you on a higher vibrational level. So you have to,
Yeah.
when you feel that, you have to, one, holler at somebody, holler at a priest or somebody that actually works with these type of things.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to deal with this on your own because that's actually what a lot of of the entities want. They want for you to bottle up about this and not tell anybody, so nobody knows what you're going through or what you're um, dealing with, and that way it kind of tries to separate you from everybody so it could get you by itself and beat you up in the corner. But if you want to stand up to it, for one, you gotta stand up. For two, you gotta get somebody and know what they're doing so y'all can take the right stand and know how to defend yourself against it, get it out of you, get it off of you, get away from you, and make sure it never returns. And see what actions that was associated with your life, so you can make sure not to never do that anymore. So it's not as if it
Ashe.
is it will come back, because that'll be the door to come back. Like, if it was making you smoke and you got rid of the deity but you kept smoking, it'll find smoking the weasel its way back, because wires that wire together. So it was firing at the same time as that smoking. So now when you smoke, you fire in that part of you that was attached to that entity that you tried to get rid of. So there's certain actions that you might have to stay away from that's associated with some of these entities and these so-called demons that are behaviorally impacting you.
Good answer. Very good. Now, with intuition, like we said, the two voices that are telling you to do the different things. Part of going on your spiritual journey and your spiritual growth and development is learning to recognize your own voice of intuition and to trust it. And in the beginning, I struggled with that years ago because I wasn't trusting it. I was thinking it was my imagination or something like that. But we've all know the voice of our intuition versus, like you said, the lower carnal voice, and knowing it and recognizing it. And it's like it's a spiritual ability that you have to develop, I think. For example, we all have this feeling about certain things. Like, you always hear people say, I knew I shouldn't have done that, or something told me not to trust him or her. Something told me not to go there. I had a bad feeling about this. I knew something wasn't right. All of that is examples of your intuition and your intuitive ability that a lot of us don't pay attention to, don't take seriously, because that's why they're saying these things. Like, I knew that I shouldn't have done that. If you knew you shouldn't have done it, why did you do it? If something told you don't go there, why did you go?
Shay.
So what do you think about that being a spiritual ability, intuition?
So I literally spent my childhood running from spirit and my intuition. Spirit to tell me don't do this, I run and try to do it. You feel me? I was ducking and hiding. I knew right from wrong. I knew intuition, but I was not trying to go along with the master plan or the master guider that is the best knower of things. I was just trying to live my life as young, wild, and free as possible. So that being said, I know how loud intuition can be. I know how it can present itself in so many different ways. I also know that spirit speaks to us, and spirit's always speaking to us. So if you're not hearing spirit, you're not listening. You don't know how to hear the voice of God. And everyone doesn't know it. It's not, you see, God doesn't speak to you with the mouth, so you can't hear it with ears. So when we say hear the voice of God, people get caught up in the personification of saying that God is speaking to you, and you don't hear it in your ears. It's not being said with a mouth. God speaks in thought. So the thought, God sends a thought, puts a thought in your head, puts a picture in your head, puts a vision in your head.
Oh, yes.
God speaks through images and symbols. Sometimes you might need somebody, you might have to holler at somebody like us to actually interpret your dream or your vision.
And the messages you getting from spirit, absolutely.
Absolutely, because sometimes the occult and mystical and the signs and symbols just gotta be decoded. so you can get to the actual message of what spirit was trying to tell you.
I agree.
And
But
usually
what the fact that you got a dream or some vision or message is showing you that your intuition is present and it does
intuition is
work.
present. I
Yeah.
say it. Absolutely. So as far as developing intuition, I say you gotta develop back to listening to the voice of God. And how do you do that? For one, God's always reaching out. We're not always reaching our hand back. So first, start reaching your hand back. Start asking God questions. Start
Mhm.
talking to God. Start writing to God in the journal. Asking God questions in the journal. Ask God the question, any question you have in life. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna be
Ask
real with
God in
you.
prayer.
Ask God in prayer, ask
Yes.
God in a journal, put it in a journal. I'm gonna tell you put in a journal because I promise you, if you do this practice, it's transformational. I've seen my journals from the past. So when I look at my life now, it's like, and I read my journal from the past, I'm like, damn, I spoke this into existence right here back
Mhm.
in 2017. I put this in. That's why this came. I had a journal. Literally everything I said I was going to learn, tap into, or connect with in the journal. Looking at the journal 5 years later, I wasn't constantly looking back at this journal to, like I was following a plan. But God's the
Mhm.
greatest knower of things. I put it in God's plan by writing it out into my journal. I
Mhm.
wrote it in stone, and God saw that, and it was a part of. God said, "Okay, I'm gonna take him through A, B, C. I'm gonna take him through this path because through this path he gonna hit A, B, all these marks. How could I hit all these marks that I wasn't even thinking about hitting? I wasn't thinking about. You feel me? When I wrote it down, these are things I want to learn, things I want to tap into, questions I want answers to.
Mhm.
5 years later, everything I could answer it. Everything I tapped into, everything I was looking to connect with, I done connected with.
Mhm.
So yeah, that journal, writing it in stone, actually writing it is very important. And if you write your questions to God, I promise you, in no time at all, you will see an answer.
Mhm.
And you can come back probably a month later and probably answer the same question you wrote a month ago. So I would say write what you're feeling, write what you're going through, and also write questions to God. Start a constant conversation with God.
Yes.
Constant,
I
consistent,
love that.
day by day.
Like that.
They say when you pray, you're speaking to God. When you meditate, you're listening to God.
Listen to the answer.
When you meditate, you're not thinking about nothing out there. Your eyes not open looking at the things around you. That's the time when you're looking in. That's the time when you're looking for God. And you can't find God outside of you when you want to find God. The closest place to find God is to go within.
Ashe.
So we have to have the ability to go within, meditate, and hear the voice of God. The thing is,
Mhm.
when we become still and quiet, we can hear the slightest, most subtle movement. And God speaks in slight, subtle movements.
Mm.
So we have to be able to hear those slight, subtle
Ashe.
movements. You got to
Yes.
be able to hear the whisper of God. Because God's truth is so pure, he don't have to shout it. He
Mm.
could whisper it and it still be true enough to move a mountain.
Ashe.
So we got to go back to God, and that's why I be telling first things first. First things first is self. Know thyself. If you know thyself, you know where you came from. If you know thyself, you look deep within you. You find God. You
You
find
find
spirit.
out.
You find energy. Even at an atomic level, every atom holds energy. At an atomic level, there is energy. That means everything in this world is made out of atoms, and even at an atomic level the energy that resides within an atom, that's God. That's
Mhm.
spirit. That's omnipresence. Explained scientifically. God is everywhere because God is within everything. Every single cell of life in this world holds the untapped potential of God energy.
Yes. Mhm.
So that's why God is in all places. And because God's in all places, of course, God sees and knows everything that goes on. So God is omniscience. God is all knowing. And
Yeah.
because God is a part of everything and knows everything, that means God can get anything done. So that's why God is all powerful.
I see.
You see, when you say all these things, but you don't actually think of the mechanics behind what's being said, you don't actually think of the reasons why, you're just left with blind faith.
Mm-hmm.
Believe God's all powerful. Why is God all powerful? Why should I believe that?
Mm-hmm.
Because God is the energy within everything in this universe.
I see.
God is the power source for this universe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why God's all powerful, because God is power. What does that power manifest as? Love, light.
Mm-hmm.
So we gotta understand, like, um, people be a lot of people are confused as to who, what, where, when, why, in the practice of religion and connecting with God and connecting with spirit on a personal level. Some people don't even feel like you gotta connect with spirit on a personal level, which is crazy. Some people feel like the pastor can connect you to God. Some people feel like, going off someone else's spiritual experience can expose you to spirit. And it might be able to expose you, but it's not until you have that exposure and you go through it first person yourself and you actually feel the spirit of God. I don't care if you feel me, you heard somebody tell you about God. I don't care if you saw a book about God or you saw someone preaching, you saw someone catching the Holy Ghost, you saw somebody body shake. Oh, I see him catch the Holy Ghost. I know miracles is real.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you I don't care how you sense God. If you didn't feel God, if you didn't feel that energy within your heart, it feel otherworldly, totally different.
Mm-hmm.
The purest high, a higher vibration. You can feel the spirit take over you, and you feel different.
Mm-hmm.
You feel God. That's how you know you in connection with God, because you feel God. That's how you know it's God talking to you, because you feel God talking to you. What is the presence that you feel talking to you? If you ever hear a voice talking to you and you ain't sure who it is, just get silent and still. Breathe deep and see how you feel. Go back to a regular stasis of just not movement and see how you feel. See how the energy in your body is holding. Does that energy seem godly, or does it seem like something else?
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is, you can literally ask that energy, is this God speaking to me? Is this voice speaking from love? Is this voice speaking for my best good? Please give me an answer. You could just speak to spirit just like that, and the answer will form. It might form as a thought in your hand. You be like, "Oh yeah, it was God. I knew it was God. Yeah, told me to do something in love." Or spirit might manifest like, "Yeah, it's not God. Ho ho, that's not God over there. That's not God. God not telling you to go ahead hit that PPP loan. God ain't tell you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not God." So we gotta learn how to identify the voice of God, but we know God would never tell us wrong. We know God's never going to tell us something that's not for our best good. We know God's never going to tell us something that's against the universal laws that God has put into place since the start of time. So, if something is wrong, if something's not right, just know for certain it wasn't God. It wasn't God. Now if something's coming from a place of love, place
Mm-hmm.
of truth, place of peace, place
Mm-hmm.
of freedom, place of justice, bringing order, reciprocity, mayat, balance. If it's coming from any of these high vibrational attributes, morals, then yes, I can say that that is the Spirit of God, because that's what the Spirit of God breeds and produces. If it's breeding and producing something evil or bad, the stench around it is foul, then it is not God. If it's breeding or producing something beautiful, something uplifting, something loving, then God is surely in the building. So we got to figure out what makes God God so we can praise God even better, because we don't know why God is so powerful. We don't know why God is God, and that makes us question God. That
Mm-hmm.
makes us question ourselves. That makes us question, everything, because We don't have no real way of knowing because we can't feel God in the answers.
Mm-hmm.
So we just have to go with believing. Somebody just got to convince us or give us enough information to make us believe. But the thing is, people can write words all they want. I could write the most compelling argument and story if I say I'm going to find some way to convince Queen Tamara to buy my sea moss. I'm going to find some way. I'm going to think of some way that it take away the ring. I see some wrinkles in her eye. It take away wrinkles in your eyes. Drive away. Just I'm gonna start making up things that apply to you to get you to want it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get things to apply to you. I'm gonna market to you.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, you gotta see past that. You gotta see we gotta see past this, and we just gotta know that the voice of God feels good. It feels like the truth. It
Mm-hmm.
feels real. You can feel it. Like you ever said, man, I felt that. You feel me? Heard a song or something like I felt that. I felt the truth. And I felt the spirit in that. Or heard somebody say something, man. I felt that, man. That was real. I felt that in my spirit. That's a real thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a real thing.
And feeling that in your spirit is part of your intuition, that trust in that knowingness that you have.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I know the knowingness also helps you in your spiritual journey when it comes to your healing. Knowing a lot of times when people are in need of healing, they'll have this feeling what they need and they'll start to seek it out. Like they may say, well, I've been, doctor diagnosed me with whatever kind of illness, and I've been feeling like I should stop smoking, or I've been feeling like I should change my diet. Maybe I should exercise more. So I think that intuition is always present and always there, but we just have to trust it,
Yeah,
listen to it.
absolutely. It's always there. It's always present. And for one, we have to trust it. But for two, we gotta hear it. We gotta know it's there. We got to be able to see the signs and symbols of God. Because God sends us signs and symbols out in this physical world just as much as God sends us
Yeah.
signs and symbols inside of us. Pain, that's God talking to us. If you feel
Mm,
pain somewhere, that's God telling you there's something wrong right there. Your body says your body's pain receptors go off because it's your body telling you that there's something wrong that needs to be addressed and fixed here. So it's
mhm,
pretty much drawing attention to you, like, that hurt. What's going on right here? You're gonna stretch pull something you didn't even notice until your body told you through pain that there's some healing that needs to go on. You need to slow down, stop moving that so much. Maybe put some ice, put some heat, put some healing medicine, but you need to do something because something's not right.
Is de-stress perhaps.
Yeah, so I mean, the things that hurt us, the things that traumatize us, the things that where we can feel it like we feel something not right, you need to pause. You need to write down what it is that made you feel that way. What do you believe is rooted in, and get to the root of it because that's a problem. Just
Mhm,
know if it made you feel some type of way. If someone says something and they didn't say nothing disrespectful to you and you feel disrespected and you feel some type of way, it made you feel some type of way. If that happened, that means there's a trauma or trigger related with what was said, and
mm,
that means that there's a problem there, that you have a unique opportunity to not only overcome but to excel by finding the problem,
mhm,
using Blue's Clues to
mhm,
find the problem and come up with a concrete solution. But let me tell you now, just finding the problem is not good enough. Because I know all y'all that be like, oh, yeah, I know what's wrong with me. I don't need you to tell me what's wrong with me. I already know what's wrong with me. Okay, so what that mean? As you know what's wrong with you, it's like me saying I know a lion is biting my leg off and that's what's wrong with me, but
mhm,
I don't address the lion. I don't
mhm.
need you to tell me what's wrong with me. I can see the lion biting my head off. I can feel my leg being bit off, but I'm not going to address the lion. I'm going to just keep letting it gnaw my leg off. That don't
Right,
make sense.
right.
That don't make sense. No point of identifying the problem if you're not going to what? find the solution. Don't do incomplete work. That's half the work. Finding the problem is only half the battle. After you find the problem, now you got to solve the problem. After we find the problem, we now have to address the situation and solve the problem. And
Mhm.
until we come up with a solution, we can never say nor think in our minds or heads at any time that that problem is solved. If you got a ticket in the mail and you ain't never do nothing about it, does that ticket magically go away?
Nope.
Just because you forgot about it, does the NBA forget about it? They remind you real quick when you try to register that new card, don't they? You
Yeah.
got some fines, and we try to find out when you're gonna pay this money. So that being said, we gotta look at it like that. We can't just leave problems in the wind. We identify a problem, we find a solution. If you
Mhm.
don't make time to find a solution, that means you saying you got enough time to keep dealing with that problem. How much time it costs you when that problem hits you upside your head? That's
Mhm.
what I want to know. Cause you ain't got time to deal with it. You
Mhm.
got time for a Netflix special, binge watch Netflix at night, but you ain't got enough time to brainstorm, make a what's that web that they make in school? You know, the word web to kind of
Oh,
brainstorm ideas.
like a what is it called? Yeah, word web.
Word web, compare and contrast. Do whatever you gotta do. Play around with the thoughts, talk to spirit, but you gotta solve this shit.
Mhm.
Cause ain't nobody gonna solve this for you. Not a heal. I don't know a healer in the world that's gonna solve it for you. They might be able to guide you through the healing
Right.
process. They
Mhm.
might be able to guide you and influence you energetically, mentally to heal and be open to healing and tell you about what you need to do and actually point up the elephant that's right in front of your face that you probably already know. I know about that problem. We know you know. Because the thing is, if I can know, that means you have to know. If I can know what's going on with you, you have to know. Why do you have to know? Because who's the one that saw it? Who was it closest to?
Yeah.
Who did it happen to? So,
Right.
of course, you know. You just don't know you know. And me, I just ask you questions so you could tell me without even knowing you telling me. And as soon as I see the problem, oh, that's the problem.
Mhm.
And to get to the root of it, we gotta fix the energy in the solar plexus. So I'm gonna punch her in the solar plexus. No, I ain't gonna do that. But we gotta fix the problem.
Yes.
Gotta find a way to address the solar plexus or
Mhm.
address whatever the issue is. And if you don't address it, don't think it's solved. Because when things pop up again and you're made to make a spontaneous
Yep.
decision dealing with whatever that trigger or that problem is, your body is programmed to respond in the way it's been responding because you haven't given it any other instructions.
Mhm. It's the
So if
same
you,
problem. It's
yep,
not a new problem. It's the same problem, just
it's the
cycling
same
back a
problem.
different way.
Same problem presenting itself in different ways. Same energy manifesting in your life in different ways. The same trick messing you up every time. Trip you. The same logs tripping you up every time. Every
Mhm.
time he trip you up. You ain't get it yet. And God gonna keep letting it trip you up until you get the message in there, because it's something in there that you need to learn.
Absolutely.
And that's our job. Our job is to take our losses, our failures, and
Mhm.
see the lesson in it. If I didn't perform my best in this thing, now me looking back for my healed state of mind, because I'm in a better frame of mind than I was when this first happened. So now me looking back, recollecting, I can look and see that, oh, because the first person I got to look at in the scenario is me. What could I have done better to prevent this situation, to make this situation and better, or to solve this situation in the moment? I mean, what would have been a better answer for this scenario? And you brainstorm and you come up with a better answer. Okay, well, maybe I shouldn't have got mad. Maybe I shouldn't have got loud. Maybe I shouldn't have got up in their face. That's why he punched me, because I got too close. Maybe I should have gave him 6 feet distance like they had COVID or something. You know, maybe I should have done, something different. And when seeing what you could have done different and picking what you would rather do than what you're doing, because there's a habit that you have a habit of doing.
Mhm.
So you have to reprogram and pick something that you would rather do. And then there is a simple technique in the Metsu Netter 5 of reprogramming that stimulus with your breathing, because neurons that fire together wire together. So if something's firing off at your brain at the same time or wire together, so there's meditations where you can look at scenarios where things didn't go the way you wanted them to, and you can replay the scenario with it going the way you want to go while doing a certain rhythmic breathing. And when you do that breathing again, say like something happens to trigger you, and instead of getting mad or getting triggered, you do the breathing. When you do
Mhm.
the breathing, you remember the new scenario that you played out for dealing with this problem already, and it goes right into action. And then you're like, oh,
Mhm.
excuse me, I don't got time for this. I'm not going to let you anger me or get me out of my character. I have too much respect for myself than that, even if you don't have the respect you need to have for yourself. So thank you. I appreciate all you got to say, but I don't need to hear it. And I have something I need to do. So please have a great day. Peace and love. Be on your way. Ashe. You feel me? Just talk to people all calmly. That make them mad. It make them mad when you wish them peace and love and they mad at you. You feel? You ever see somebody mad at you?
Yes, I say
Peace
you
and
don't
love.
want to.
They be so. It's like you just curse them out. It's like I said, peace and love, my nigga.
Yeah, and then you let them know you're not about to argue,
I
and
ain't about to argue
and
with you.
just say peace and love, or I'm gonna pray for you, and they really get angry.
Yeah, absolutely.
But oh well, that's the way it is.
That's the way it is. But it's all love. Like God's intuition, we all have it. There's nobody is devoid of God's intuition. There's no one that God's not talking to. Now, you know how you speak about women's intuition? Women are closer to the spirit. So God speaks to them a little bit more louder. They usually are more sensitive and have a better connection, and have an easier time with hearing the voice of God and hearing spirit talking to them through dreams and other modalities that God speaks to them. Us men, we might got to work a little harder. We connect with God more through a physical. So sometimes going out in nature and doing things connects us to a spirit. So sometimes that's what we gotta do. We gotta go out in nature and do things. Go out, climb a tree, hug a tree, or something of that nature. But you have to find ways. The fact that here in spirit, we're not as sensitive to spirit as we are to things in the physical. We actually have to slow down and pause, because as men, we're very active. We have to slow down and pause, sit ourselves down,
Mhm.
and be silent and still and listen for spirit.
Yes,
The thing is, if you can't hear something and you know that something is speaking, that means you're not listening
listening.
hard enough and you're not being sensitive enough to hear that voice. So we have to be sensitive to the voice of God. That's all I got for you today. Peace and love.
Ashe.
I'm about to
Peace
get
and
up
love.
out of here. I love you. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all.
All right, I will talk to you tomorrow. I got some updates to share with you, some good news. So we
Peace
will
and love.
talk. Thank you for joining us
Make
this evening.
make
Thank
sure to
you to
put your
everyone.
tithe and offering, or
Yes,
your
that's a
your
good idea.
zakat, or however you want to call it. Make sure to leave a donation, man.
Yes, cash
I
out
don't care.
us at
Listen,
dollar sign Astro Healing Arts and dollar sign Face the World. Yes.
absolutely. Listen, I don't care if it's 11 cents. I just want to know that you got some real love and you mess with us. It's just a shout out. It's just a message. I
Yes,
don't even
yes.
care about the money. I
God
don't
loves
care.
a generous
You feel me?
spirit. Thank you so
Generous
much.
spirit. It's the thought that counts. Just sending us 11 cent within the subjects, a heart, or just thanks for the knowledge. It's just an encouragement for us to keep going. So that's what I'm saying. I need y'all to give us this feedback, because we
Yes.
giving you this information, and the information didn't come easy. Spirit didn't just know this. I had to go through some trials and tribulations to come back with this knowledge. So I'm coming back with this knowledge. I'm sharing it. I'm not asking for a lot. I'm not really asking for anything. The donation, I don't need a lot. I've been cool in a 8x6 sale. I have found peace in jail. So that being said, I don't need a lot to be happy. But I do like to make my family happy. So I like bringing some pennies home, even if it's 11 cents. If I gave my daughter 11 cents, she'd smile. So when I say that, just do what you can. I don't want to take nothing out your pocket that you can't for a spirit. But if what we're saying is actually impacting you and benefiting you, just show your love in whatever way you can. Drop 11 cents or whatever you can, the dollar if you can. If you balling, you feel me, whatever you feels right for you. And if you can go to our websites and get some products, go do that. We're Shop CMOS on Instagram. She's Astro Hillet Arts anywhere you look. Instagram, website, all that good stuff. I'm trying to get like you when I grow up. But me, I'm all over the place. Shop CMOS on Instagram to buy CMOS.
Fitness.
Ogun.fitness for personal training, spiritual consultation, and all that good stuff. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And we'll see you all next week, Wednesday. Oh, no, next week, not next week, the week after. We'll see you all. And peace and love, everyone. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching this show every week. We appreciate the comments and the questions from people on Instagram. We also appreciate you all who comment and take the time to watch these videos on YouTube. I really, really, really thank you for the comments and the encouragement. It means so much to me to see it and to hear it. And for people who comment and take the time to watch the videos, because we do put a lot of time into the content that we bring to you each week on the show, as well as on this channel. We hope and we pray each week that it is received in the very best of manners, that you all take heed to some of the things that we're sharing, all of the things that we're sharing with you. And we hope that it is beneficial, a blessing, and helpful to you in your life and in your health. So with that said, thank you once again for another episode of Ask the Herbalist, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Please stay tuned. Peace, love, and prosperity to each and every one of you.